Welcome to D-Mop Garage. We're working on the 54 barn door single cab. Now, in the previous episode, we were getting the frame jig finished. You can check that. What we're up to today, let's go and have a look. We got a little bit of chassis rail repaired in the previous video, and we're just moving forward on the chassis, trying to finalise all this rear parts. We've got this little mount here for the valance to weld in once it comes. I've just bought a brand new one. I was going to make it, and then I thought, no point. What we're doing today is we're just using some of this scrap sheet metal that I've got here to make the gussets that go inside here. And again, we're using Stan's plans from the Nova Scotia barn door build, and he's been very gracious to put them up so everyone can look at the dimensions, because otherwise you're scratching your head and you don't know what you're doing. So we're going to basically do some measurements, cut it out on this bit of sheet steel here, which is it's about 2 mil. It's closer to 2 mil, but you know what? That section there is probably a good idea to have it stronger than weaker, because, you know, there has been repairs done there as well. So now, one thing I am going to do is wherever these bits have been welded in half, I'm putting gussets on the other side as well. Now you can see there's a gusset in that one, and I'm also going to add one over on this side here. And you're not going to see them, obviously, they're going to be embedded inside, but I think it's just a good safe practice to have extra metal in there, just because that was a seam weld. So we are going to make some stiffening plates for the center weld section, which was on factory as well, and we'll get onto that later on. So for now, we've just got to do some measurements and chop up some of this steel and make these little gussets. Let's get into it. So that's our shape. We've got to go and clean her up, and then we've got to bend some bends in it. Let's do it. Yeah, it could be a bit much. And that's the general. It's actually not too bad for a hack. I'll stick it on the concrete and just belt it a bit flatter. It should work. Right, so we've got our little fabricated piece here. I'm going to do obviously plug welds on it, because that's the only way. I haven't got the spot welder I've got's not going to be strong enough. So yeah, anyway, that's ready to go. We're going to hit it with some copper spray, just weld through primer, and that'll just seal the back of it up. And yeah, we'll get it welded in. I'll show you what it looks like in the side of the rail. It's going to basically live like that. And then we're just going to plug it in top and bottom. I'll have to drill the top ones in a second, but that's how she's going to go in. All right, let's get going. Okay, so we're just about to get the other side welded in. I've just got the plug welds to do along the top here and along the side, and we're just clamping. In actual fact, that back part there is already perfect, so we can whack a quick tack on that. There we go, guys. So we've got that done. We've got our little hole for the wiring loom to come through, and that goes through the chassis. I've still got to grind a little bit of welding here, but all plugged in, and both of them are done. Good to go. We can start moving forward on the chassis. The next thing we're going to do is get the stiffener little sections in here. We've got to make those. Get them welded in, and then we can keep moving forward onto the front, and that's where the real fun's going to be. Guys, so it's the next day, and I've done a little bit more progress to the rail here. This is our little stiffener that I've made, and that's basically going to go in like so, and it's going to get plug welded in all those little spots and up on top here. And that was pretty much the factory stiffener for that join, and of course they did away with it in later models, which is interesting, and then they just ended up with that crappy weld that you see on the factory buses. Anyway, that's ready to go. We're going to clamp this in position, and we're going to plug up all these welds, and then we just need to replicate it on the other side. There we go, guys. That one is, the stiffener is welded in position and plug welded on top. All done. We'll move on to this side, get that one done, and then I think that's it for the rear, and we can just do a bit of cleaning now on this, and then we can continue on to the front. So after a little bit of wire wheeling, we've put the phosphoric acid on just with a little spray bottle. Just to note, make sure you wear a mask with that phosphoric stuff, because if it gets in your lungs, you're going to be in a world of hurt. Anyway, so that's doing its thing now. It's doing its little rust conversion, and once we're all done, then we can hit it. Probably put some KBS on this, actually, because it's going to, you know, being a chassis, we want to keep it, stopping it from rusting again. All those sections have obviously just got the copper spray for repairs, so we'll go back over all of this. We're pretty much ready now to start on the front. So what we're going to do, we have some boxes of stuff here too. Panels, good panels. We're going to have to take this off. We'll probably just move the frame a bit further in, because it's like 10 degrees Celsius outside, so I've got the heater on in here and it's warm. But we're going to set up another table just here, and we can put this on it and just start stripping it, because we're going to have to remake a lot of stuff here. So let's go. All right, let's start chopping up. We're going to take this splash panel off in the middle, and then we can expose the side panels and all that. Let's see how we go. So we've got a couple of welds in the side here that we're just going to try and break through with the grinder. See how we go. Okay guys, so we've pretty much hacked this thing off. I wanted to try to keep it in one piece, but down there I didn't want to upset the bolts here, so I've just left this panel in and just cut around it. But you're going to see now, just have a look at this. Take this off. And obviously we're going to make new templates off that. And check out what's going on in here. Look at all this. So there's that stiffener piece, which I've got two brand new ones of those, and I didn't know what they were. They're actually down there on the ground, those green things. I mean, these don't look too bad. I probably can reuse them. But you can see why we had to unpick this, because look at the rust in here. It's insane. These rails aren't too bad up here. Like that's all savable. We'll just have to clean up the faces a bit. And then this section here, I'll just weld around it. So we'll clean it up. I didn't want to upset this section here, so obviously the bottom of this has to be rebuilt. That's all shagged. That's the de-skinning. Now I didn't want to pull this apart either, because this is all right, that's all right. I just thought, you know what, I'll leave it together and I'll just de-skin the inside, make a replica of that. I've got some sheet metal over there we can use. What I can't do here, and look, I could probably try, is to put the indentations. I don't have a bead roller with this profile, and I was actually thinking of doing a press like what Stan did, but my problem is I've only got this little tiny press, and it's not really going to be big enough to put sheets in there to do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut this section out, because this is all fine, and I'll sandblast this in the cabinet, and then I'll just weld that piece onto the new bottom section, and that'll give me a brand new piece. So that's what we're going to do. All right, we've got a bit of cleaning up to do, and we've also got to de-skin the other side. So let's go. Wow, look at all the crap in here. Woohoo! Oh, look at this. Nice. Oh, well, at least I've got that all off. We can give that a good clean up now and start making the panels. Let's do it. So we have given this thing a really good clean and put some phosphoric acid on it. Obviously we're going to have to, repair all the ends, but at least, we can get to all these spots now to repair them. A couple of holes here. This part inside here looks actually pretty good. That bottom part there's gone. That part on that side's okay. So it's a bit of a weirdness. You don't know, what's good and what isn't. I suppose it's been sitting on a weird angle. I am going to chop out this whole top section on that one, and obviously the bottom on that. But at least by tomorrow morning, this will all be dry. And then I can do some KBS in there once we've done all the repairs, of course. The next thing, we're going to have to get those pieces cut out and welded back together. So stay tuned for that soon. Okay, so it's the next morning and everything is dry. And now we're going to start doing some chopping. So I'm just going to cut this top just on the inside of the radius there, because I don't have obviously big folders and stuff, and this is quite a complex shape anyway. I'm going to buzz the grinder just on the inside of that radius and just take this top whole section off and just replace it. And we also do know this is the end of the chassis, that is the end of the chassis, this one not so much, only because I did put this valance on, and you can see there that this plate here is this one that's on top, and also you've got that angle here, which is the angle there. So we're all, I'm going to double measure everything, of course. Let's start just chopping this top section off and replacing that. Right, we'll transfer this over to a sheet and cut it out. Okay, here's our piece. That's all cut out, and that's going to basically go straight in like so, and we will MIG it in, just tack it and then TIG it all the way across. There is also a little stiffener, which I reckon this is probably 3mm plate, and that gets welded just under right there, and it's on both sides too, so we'll just tack that back in position now, and then I can weld the rest of it in. Alright, let's get this set up for welding. Okay, we'll go and grab the TIG and finish off the rest with the TIG. Okay, let's just run a bead of weld with the filler rod and the TIG. See how we go. Got on about 80 amps, so we'll just see how we go, what it's going to need. That's not too bad. We don't want to add too much heat to it because then we can start warping things, so just do a little tack, let it cool down, then we can maybe do a little section over here, another section here, and then come back to here. We don't have to just run it all the way in one go. So just let that cool down for a bit. Let's have a bit of a look at that. Not bad. It'll be an easy grind back and nice and straight. Excellent. Let's keep moving. And there we have it, guys. All nicely smoothed out. Just put the Viber on it as well. We'll get a bit of copper spray on top of this because obviously we will be welding the floor to it. So that little top section, put a bit of copper spray, but that bit's done. All right, guys. One of the next things we're going to tackle is this steering box beam, I suppose. Now, this section here is pretty good. I'm going to try to rebuild it. I don't want to completely pull it apart. It's just too much work to have to rebuild the whole thing. So I've already just trimmed off the rusty sections on the front. This is all good metal here. Underneath's good. On top's good. That side's got a little bit of rot on the side there, but we'll cut that out. I'm just going to leave this now as a template, make a bit of a cardboard cutout here, and make this section the top over and down, weld that in, and then I can weld in the side little piece as well. So chop this out and work out what the hell's going on.
Two hours later.
Okay, so we've got some bits and pieces finalised. We've just put a bit of copper spray on this. We have our little piece that we're going to be welding in like so. And you can see we've left a nice little gap for penetration. And we also have the gusset, which goes on the other side, in here like that. So let's tack these suckers in and see what happens. All right, we've got this thing all braced up so that it can't move. We're going to just put a couple of strategic tacks in it, and then we can TIG weld it all up. So we'll just bang one over here. We'll let that cool down and we can just do our final TIG on the outside. That's looking good. I've got it all on the inside in here. There we go. All done. Wouldn't even know it's been repaired. I reckon that is going to do it for this episode because I've got to make templates for the other side. We've still got a heap to do on this front section. I've had enough. That'll do. All right, guys. Well, thanks for the new subscribers too. Check back every Friday, 6 o'clock, which is Australian 6 o'clock at night time. I don't know for America. You guys will have to work it out. Every Friday I'm dropping an episode. Thanks again, and we'll see you in the next episode. You.